Live. Could be. Pretty late, but hello. Well, really, I ran out of names an awful long time ago. Let me just do my stuff. Okay, it'll be fast. We can talk about it while I do this. This is not occupying all of my brain power. I need it all to program, but if we're just talking about stuff, like, it's fine. So, do you have any plans, like, for specific character events? Apart from, like, the one that we already talked about. Noten? Not on? Inor? Enter? Happy 4th of July? It's the 3rd. But thank you. The people that definitely won't be happy. Yeah. Benton? Guess something? No. When will you realize that I'm not gonna just do that? Nice. It could be good. I really only saw stuff about it a couple months ago. America. Yes, because of the way theaters work. Um, Essentially, the way that theaters work is the it's the studio that sets the ticket price, and it's the studio that gets the money from ticket sales. Like, if they're fine with not making any money, then a theater can kind of do whatever the frick it wants. They really only make money off of concessions. It's no skin off their back. Angor? Angor. Amble. Cannot. Anton? Not a word. It's a name. Banty? No. It has an O. Baton. Nice. Do you have any plans? Any plans you want? Any plans for characters or anything? Because we have to. It's important to note that we're gonna have to write. Yeah, plans for the events. It's important that we're going to write them in third person because the narrator is going to voice them. It's very important that they're done in third person. Far out. Right on group. We can't really do that. Well, like, we could do that code, but I don't think that that's very or interesting. Again, like, wouldn't know. Like, it's just a terrible example, really. Yes, that's terrible. That has no nuance or energy at all. Well, yeah, I'm probably going to, but I'm probably going to, but uh, yeah, I'm talking about like ideas. We need more than that, but like what could the merchant possibly get out of the event, if anything? Or is it literally just to not die? We need more structure than that. Than just thing happens. That could work. That's interesting. Yeah, it's in Arkansas. Not really. Isn't it the capital? Yeah, it's the capital. It's like the only city in Arkansas. You're the one that's distracting. Yeah, stuff can happen on off screen, but but the merchant still has to be involved somehow, or because otherwise there's no real interaction. But there's not really a way to denote what roads are dangerous right now. That could be another system, but yeah, stuff like that works. Stuff like that could be done later. We can trigger future events. Did I forget? I don't know, actually. I really don't know. Oh yeah, we're doing that. We're gonna do that one, but that one's kind of self-explanatory. That one doesn't really give us a mold for the rest of them. You know, it's good, and we're gonna implement it, but it doesn't help us with others. It's kind of specific. Yeah, stuff like that. But what actually leads to that happening? What actually leads to that happening? That was a really easy one. That was a really easy. I can't do all of this myself, man. Just a second, I'm almost. Electrical insulators. Electrical insulators is pretty easy. All right. Kind of just a reminder to speak up. That's all we need. I might have to cut the stream a little bit short because my plans yesterday fell through, so been rescheduled to today. It was out of my control. It was out of my control. It's not something I did. Well, we're kind of going to have to continue doing events until they're finished. Italy or France? Italy. Actually, wait, no, not tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to take a break and play games or something. Because it's a holiday. Uh, about Sunday. No, I didn't. Start with the obvious ones. Okay. Was a gift from the gods? It was just like finds an item or like finds something out of place and it leads them to an item. It was really simple for like implementation purposes. It's probably the bare minimum we can get away with. The bare minimum. That's what it is. That will be considered an event as well. I'll have to do that because that one's kind of special. That one's kind of special. But the rest are pretty standardized. Like it's broad enough. No, but I don't think that that's going to be an event, but it should be pretty easy to implement anyway. No, we can use the small version. You sent me an independent version at some point, I believe. The campfire. I'm gonna do the gift from the gods first. Super easy. We want to name every event as well. We want to name every event so we can keep track of them. That's going to be very important. Like if you can come up with some names for different events, that would be nice. Double R. Stop. Because when you do that, it means that you're not actually thinking. You're not actually thinking about it. I can't just help you through all of this. Because then it's just me doing it. A trap? Okay, that's good. We don't need to do that because it's been drawn. We don't need to describe the environment all that much for these. The visual medium. Video games are a visual medium. That's all right. Uh, we're pretty close to done. We're pretty close to done with a lot of the art. Like, you don't need to be drawing 24/7 anymore. This is kind of a very specific thing, and if it's not done in a certain way, it's gonna be kind of bad. Emanate. Uh, They're coming from your. But that's not even how you would word that. No, you have to include choice. You have to include player choice. Uh, exactly. Exactly. That's what it's about. It's about the choice. This is a really, really simple one because we don't have to give somebody something. We can go like 35%. Chance of like this. Then we also have more text. More text before we continue. Because we need to discuss how it is resolved. We can have as many choices as we want for each one. Actually, up to 4. Or probably more, but I don't know how much space we have. Just have to remember, I think the way that this is going to have to work is we're going to have to do sub-events. We're going to have to do sub-events, I think, which sucks. No, that's not going to be shown. That's not going to be shown. That would be stupid. We can have some danger, though. Like maybe when you get back to the cart, something. Or maybe something like that. It could be anything. Well, we could, but we need more text. We gotta have text for each of these. But I think what ends up needing to be done, I think what needs to be done is we need another event. Essentially like triggers, you know? Mm, 35% chance to trigger. Well, in a way, we kind of have to, because otherwise we're not going to be able to handle the exit. Like when everything is done, you know? Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. We can break it into so many different things from here. Trigger. A gift from the gods. Reward. %75 chance to trigger. A gift from the gods. No reward. Yeah. That should not be like that. That should be 100% chance. To trigger. Gift from the gods. Ignored. Does that make sense? Because then we'll also have then 3 more events lined out. Reward. A gift from the gods. No reward. And a gift from the gods. Ignored. And those will all also be individual events. So that way, essentially, each event can trigger a tree and not just a single thing. Yeah. Because we can also trigger events later as well. Or we will be able to, because I'm gonna have to rework some stuff. Because we have to go through this route. We have to do it this way, and that's the only way. Well, really, like, this stuff is not... That stuff's not lines. Actually. You know what I should do? I need to put these in a tree form, because otherwise this is not going to work. This is going to be terrible to read. This is going to be terrible to implement if I don't do that. This is going to be so confusing. Is there a tool I can use to make a tree? Because essentially we're going to need like title, name, text, buttons, 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 buttons. Or was it past tense? No, present tense. It doesn't matter. We can make it random too. We can make it random too. Something magical? Dude, we have not implemented magic. We don't know how that's going to be implemented. a nice idea, but it has not been implemented. We don't do that yet. We don't have that yet. Because every time I ask about how we're actually going to implement that with the assets that we currently have, you don't say anything about it ever, and then we just move on. That's one of the reasons I think it would be good to have different variations of the items. Because then we can say that things are magical and use the same sprites and whatnot and what have you. But right now, with every sprite being unique, with every item being unique, that would be weird to do. We can do stuff like that too, but that's really what the event is about. We can only change keywords, okay? Changing the whole thing would be pointless and way too much work. Like, actually be reasonable. We also have not implemented luck. A lot of that stuff has not been touched yet, but it's not very difficult to implement, but it hasn't been done yet. Also, we're just doing a test one. You're getting way ahead of yourself. Or attentiveness. Finding a thing. Not be that should be. I don't know how to break text like that yet in Godot script. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. That's not what I was talking about. Beneath closed root. On the side of the tree. So then one, we'll just call it finish. Okay, so when you're recording or when you're overseeing recording of the lines in this section, if it's marked A, that's the line. Well, I could do that, but it's a lot easier to just send you the whole file. Also, this is easier to manage here for me. It's easier to manage for me because I'm going to have to implement all the other stuff. Wagon and the road ahead. And we go like this, finish. Finding a trinket, yes. You're right, it should not be like that here. You are right. That would be bad. We'll go perhaps. Yeah, it has no real downsides, but we will have downsides later. It's like, sure, this one is like, well, you always do it, but some that's really not going to be good. Yeah, because like at the same time, remember, like we have complete control over what can happen, complete and total control. Well, you don't want it to make it. You don't want to make it completely unfair. Like it's not gonna just happen outright. It can't just happen outright, but it should certainly be a threat because essentially, if you forget or if you, uh, I don't know. Oh yeah, if you die, you're basically going back to the start. I guess it's more of a. It's not really a roguelike. It's more of a rogue. It's just over. Like you could save. You could save, obviously. That's kind of cringe. You could do a hard mode where you can't save. You could do that. That's fine, but uh, not offering. But like that's also why a lot of games, a lot of games in this vein, one of the things they do is everything has a chance to not be dangerous. Everything has a chance to be beneficial. So like it's almost always worth going for the event, not something that's danger. Which is one of the reasons like we're gonna have to implement like skills somehow. Hard difficult. Yeah. Well, we can handle that stuff later. That's like a What happens in the player? Nothing. Keep going. They don't get the item. If they ignore it, there's a 0% chance they get the item. I know it's kind of boring, but this is what the game is. Whatever the not worth tempting dangers. Travel. As long as you can kind of see that I'm reinforcing fears as I write these. Because you should write something as well. You should try at least. So apparently, PlayStation has decided it doesn't want to be a successful company anymore. It would rather not be. You seen that? He used to travel. What are your thoughts on PlayStation deciding to basically kill itself? It's very sad. Yeah. I'm not even sure. Like, you know what the first thing did? Do you know what the first thing that happened was? The first thing I saw after I saw that PlayStation and like Sony were basically discontinuing physical games was immediately uh Xbox said that basically we're going to continue to do physical discs. And they're actually going to make it so that you can play games off of the physical disc. Like if you own the disc, you own the game. The first thing they did. The first thing they did. Immediately recognized it as a mistake and actually would be undoing because they've been kind of working toward the same thing. The first thing Xbox did was basically walk everything they've done back and say, you know what, if you have the disc, you can play the game. So silly. So silly. It's like an instant backfire. Literally just straight up hands. Just straight up hands the competition the win. Not to mention the freaking Steam machine coming out. Like, stupid. Super stupid. So it would seem. Actually, this is stuff that I probably shouldn't be streaming. Because this is like, no, it's fine. There's no one in the chat. It's fine. No one's in the chat. No one will know. It's fine. Like, I just realized, like, some twists are gonna be here. But I don't have any viewers, so it's fine. Yeah, we're doing the mud trap. Do we want to point that out? Do we want to point that out to the player? Like, we don't have to, but I don't know what it would add. Does that equal trust? Should it be mentioned? Like, how hard do we want to push? Uh, I would try. I would try to make the names a little bit fantastical. You know, we don't have too much magic. We don't have too much magic, but like just for the future, it's probably fine. But names are something that uh, can be immersion breaking. It can be immersion breaking. It's just something to be aware of. Always fine, especially because you didn't go with the normal spelling. Uh, well, we need to know exactly how this is going to play out first. Okay. But also remember, like, no repeats. No repeats, please. Sure, I guess, but why do you ask? We could also go 41 or 42. I think we've got a direction, though, so when we come back Sunday, we'll be able to knock out a ton of these. Not that we're stepping right now, but we'll be good. It'll be good. We'll be able to knock out a ton of these, and they'll all be pretty interesting. Hmm. We don't say bestie, but what do you mean? Yeah, yeah. Like that's what the quotes are, my man. Okay, we can handle that. We could do that. Actually, we should probably say that first, then, because the urgency hasn't set in yet. Not sure. I'm not sure how to do this. Mature. Like, is that practical? If this was happening, well, I guess that would kind of imply the danger is real, wouldn't it? It could give the player another chance. No, that breaks the flow. That breaks the flow. It kind of breaks the flow. Like, we could have a line like that. Inserting it right here doesn't. That makes sense. Yes, you would, because giving your name creates an emotional connection. That is something that con artists do. That is real. If you really needed help, you wouldn't do that. You would just say you need help. So I don't want to use the word bestie. Bestie really only came into use around like 2005. Way too modern in terms of language. Way too modern. Let me Google it actually. Maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine actually. Term bestie began to enter the mainstream around 2007. So yeah. Although British origins dating back to 1991. We might still be. I think friend is probably best. Or I guess we'll have to see. Like we're out in the middle of the woods, or like the middle of nowhere. We could probably put a timer. We could probably do a timer. Because we're probably going to need a timer anyway. So, like, for some events, they can be... Or, well, the timer isn't really important here. The timer really isn't important here, but... We could have time-based stuff for other events. Thoughts? Well, exactly, like... Where would I put that in this, like, outline? I guess it would be, like, B. So that way, that's, like, etch of the... We want to allow continued... Yes. It's a quote. That's the way quotes work. Quotes don't change anything. No, that would be bad. That would create more work. That would just create more work for very little benefit. Uh, just tell her it's all one line, regardless of punctuation. If it's not in another section, uh, it's all one line. Well, periods, yes, but it's not gonna it's not gonna break it up. It's not gonna break up the file. You know, it'll all be one file, one recording. Each file will be a different event's lines or line because this is a line. This is a whole event. This has all the information required for the event. This is another one. This is another one. This is another one. Only A's need to be recorded. Everything else doesn't. Yes, but each one will be separate and nice, so it'll be easy to manage. It'll be easy to manage the implementation. Well, that's the thing. We can have it. We can have as many choices as we want. So we could have. We could have one that's. Of course, I'll help lead the way. No, Ian, of course. How do you spell it? Then we can also have one for asking more questions. How did this happen? And then we could have one to just keep traveling, ignore completely. Or we could like demand payment, stuff like that. Right, we could do stuff like that too, but we'd have to do that later. We have to do that in like the next. sub events. It's just 4, my man. I'm really not sure how fighting will actually happen. That would have to be another system completely. It could be done, but I don't know how it would be how it should be implemented. Considering this really isn't that kind of game. Exactly. Have suggestions for questions to ask, or anything like that? Because I really don't know. I'm the implementer. The quote. I don't think we should have more questions. I think had this happen is a fine question. What do you need? Uh, like what's gonna happen? What would happen if each of these are pressed? Like we got to go through the steps, you know? You're really forcing she in there, and it's making it hard to follow. Please try again. Very heavy-handed of you. Only person. Is the only person being referenced. Okay. Because the whole idea is that the person in the mud is not actually in danger, right? Well, then wouldn't you end up fighting two people? I don't think that's viable. I don't even know how we would do one. I don't even know how we would do one yet. You don't just code it. You gotta have some planning first. You gotta have some planning. You gotta go through every step of the way, every event in the chain. Right. That makes more sense. Okay. But we need one in between. We need one more in between. Uh, like one last chance, you know? So it'll be like traveling to the pit, or he gets to the pit, or like the merchant gets to the pit, and that's like the last chance. Still don't know why. I still don't know why Faye needs to be in the mud. Like, All right, that makes sense. Like they get in the woods by the mud. Okay, I think I get it. That sounds cute. It's like, is she clothed in the mud? I think so. I choose to believe. Trigger the mud trap. We'll call this one. Damn. That's fine. There's still plenty of time. Actually, it might be nice to have another scene for this. It might be nice to have another background where this is all happening. We don't need it. We don't need it. We really don't need it. But if you're open to it, it would be nice. We really don't need it if you don't want to. Busy enough to just start making a game on a whim. Well, we're approaching the end anyway. It's fine. Well, you could use the background that you made for the events, for the random events. We could use that if you really wanted to for the points of interest. You could use a variation of that. It doesn't need to be a full new thing. Maybe for like a 10-year anniversary or 5-year anniversary or something, if it's successful. We could do stuff like that, but we don't really need it now. We don't need it. I think so, yeah. How did this happen? interrogation. And for this one, love interrogation. Interrogations. More dialogue. Dialogue. Not really, because what we can do is, hoping you help me. What we can do here is 50% chance. To trigger the mud trap collateral. No, that's too easy. And then in collateral, we'll decide. Oh, you'll get another chance. What does collateral mean? It's like, you know, when I got the commissions done and you wanted to do $10 first, and then $10 later. The first $10, or like before the thing is done, that's collateral for you. So like if I don't know, like, but not like for that, or the other way around. It's like a deposit. It's not really collateral. I may have misspoke. It's a deposit. Like, here, take this to make sure, you know? But it's not quite like that. It's more like a deposit is what I'm talking about. So like if you need help, you might give someone something. You might give someone something which you can then take back afterward. Like essentially as proof of your statements. So like then if you get scammed, then you don't have to give the deposit back. Like in this case, they have like 50 coins or $50 or whatever. In order to prove to you that I'm not lying, take this $50. Then we resolve the issue. Then I'd get my $50 back. So that way, like, if it is a scam or something, uh, I'm only out $50. Or no, I would not be out $50, but you would, you know, like I'm giving it to you as proof that I'm not lying. Then when the thing is resolved, I get the $50 back. But if I'm scamming you, obviously it's a little bit harder for me to scam you now because I'm invested in telling the truth. Obviously, that's not what's going to happen here, but that's why that might be believable. Because the merchant is on the downside. Like, the merchant doesn't know. Um, but that's kind of not what this. That's kind of not what that feels. The other 50% is it will trigger the interrogation again. So it will be like she's dodging the question. Actually, this should not be this. It should be like this. Uh, I'll essentially, this will have a chance of triggering 3 different things. Actually, we need another option then. So, what did you call the currency? What have you called the currency? I'm gonna have to head out soon. All right. A trap transaction. Yeah. And then a 50% chance to. What is a one-tier end scroll? Station. Station transaction. Yeah. You know Roman numerals? Yeah. I just don't know like 50 and 100 because 50 and 100 actually vary. If you didn't, sometimes they're C and sometimes they're uh, M. Yeah, but that can be varied, which is really bad. Oh, L. L is the one. But yeah, it's kind of weird once you get to higher numbers. Or is it 1,000? I don't remember. Ah, much like stick up. Grab a finale. Uh, uh, we want ignored and then finished. That's a lot. That's actually a lot. To These aren't done yet. You said you're gonna do another recording session, right? I can send you. Is I'm gonna have to go soon. I can send you the entirety of Gift from the Gods. That should be enough to hold you over for a little bit. Yeah, I'm not gonna send the undone one. That would be stupid. No, you don't need to send this. Why not? Oh, you'll just do the other stuff. Okay. Okay. Offers whatever. A deposit. Yeah, not yet though. These aren't done. The deaths are done, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah. Well, not really. Let's just kind of take it back. At least try. No. Just to show she isn't a scammer. You begin driving off. The merchant begins driving off. I gotta go. I gotta go. So I'm kind of just I'm leaving things unfinished, but I'm gonna leave all of them unfinished so that I can pick up quickly. Does that make sense? I won't need to wonder like, what did I want to write here? I'll know. You're gonna tell me she's not? I can remove it if you want. If you would like. I'll leave it? Okay. Or someone else has something to add first. If that's even her real name. Because then I'll do the buttons for each one, and that will tie them all together. That will tie them all together very well. And it will be like one thing that was all planned, all from the beginning. Holiday thing, that's fine. We can handle it later. It is really not the most important part. Like, obviously she's important, but she can do that whenever. It's fine. Ignored and finished. It should be ignored slash finished. But this also tells you how you should structure these if you want to do more on your own. And then you can just send them to me and I'll immediately know how to make sense of it, you know? I'll immediately know how to make sense of it and write the dialogue and then implement it. That's why I'm sticking to this format. So please do, actually. Please get more scenarios. Just describe them. Well, I can send you the one over here. This one. But yeah, really all you need to do is rather than having text for A, just make A what you want to happen in that on that screen or for that portion of the event. With the dangers. Oh, that actually transfers really well. Wait, no, it doesn't. Let me edit that. It's fine here. So just remember, you could change everything. You can add more. You can add more to the list. You could do whatever. Just keep those principles in mind. I'm gonna head out. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. That's it. That's it. Bye bye. Stay safe. You should stay safe. I haven't been hacked before. Bye bye. See ya. Yeah. Back tomorrow. I'll probably take a break on the game tomorrow for the holiday. That's it. Bye bye.